Hello and welcome back, and today is a bit of a different video. It's not a how-to today, it's going to be a bit of a day in the life, so you follow me along and see what I'm up to through today. And don't forget to go down below, hit the subscribe button, as well as the little bell so you're notified next time I upload. Also, if you could, please like the video and leave a comment down below. The bees on this rhododendron just never have a break. They can't have a lie in. Don't they know it's Sunday? And now let's water the garden. If you look here, what's starting to get quite worrying is how dry the soil is and how deep down that dryness goes. It's all like dust, and we're starting to get quite low on water in the water butts as well, which is quite stressful. And it's amazing to think this, because 2 years ago in 2018, if you were watching my channel back then, you'll know we also had a drought in the UK here, but this has been going on for about the same amount of time nearly. We've hardly had any rain in about 2 months. So I've put this enviromesh over the top of some hoops over most of my brassicas to try and prevent the cabbage white from laying their eggs on my plants. And I've also been having quite a lot of trouble at the moment with moles, and I've been getting molehills pushing up loads of my plants, which is annoying, but I've just got to live with it. I'm now going to do what I do every morning, which is where I walk around to my flower beds and check if they need water. Normally I do them about every 2 or 3 days, but at the moment the soil's been so dry because it's been so warm. Yesterday, my little weather station recorded it was 30 degrees outside yesterday, which is the hottest day of the year so far. So it's no wonder that all the beds are drying out. So I'm going to check the flower beds, and then I'll water the greenhouse and some of the containers. We do most of the containers in the evening with watering, and then the beds in the morning, because watering in the morning, it lessens the impact of slugs because they like a damp environment. But in the day, if you water, and they also like coming out at night because there's no predators. So if you leave it dry overnight and then water in the morning, you're a lot less likely to have slug damage. So as I said, yeah, I'm going to open the door on the greenhouse and then water the greenhouse, and then I'll go in and have breakfast, and then I'll come out again and do some more stuff in the garden later. I think that has enough water to survive today. I might water it tonight just to keep it going, and I might water these flowers as well, which are, I think, well, they're related to daisies, and they wilt quite easily because I just planted them in and their roots haven't had time to establish. So I'm going to water them this morning, give them a good soak, and the rest should be fine because it's been in here long enough. The roots are trained, the soil's not too dry underneath, so that tells me that I can do it tonight and not lose any plants. So I'm just gonna, before I go fill these watering cans up, I'm gonna go and open these doors on the greenhouse, because normally when I normally wake up about an hour earlier, but because it's Sunday I thought I'd let myself have a bit of a lie-in. And when I wake up normally, it's quite warm in here, because say I come out here at like 8, half 8, the greenhouse has already had about a few hours of sun, because the sun's rising at about 5:30 in the morning at the moment, and it's still warm overnight. So I opened this to stop any of the plants wilting and things drying out too quickly. If anyone could send me some rain, I'd really appreciate it. I only opened one of the doors this morning. It's always that one first, because if there's wind, that door doesn't swing open all over the place. And then in the peak of the day, I'll open the other one so that there's a bit more airflow between them. But now I'm going to go and have breakfast, and then I'll be back after when I come out back in the garden, and do some other stuff. So I had quite a chilled morning this morning. I watched some Beech Grove on the TV, and now I'm going to go around and I'll show you me. Every morning I go around with a hoe at the moment to get the weeds down, because when you're watering and it's warm like this, the weeds really thrive, so we need to try and keep on top of them. So I'm just going to go around with a hoe, and then I'll turn my compost. I think I might go for a bike ride. Down here by my runner beans, my peas seems to be the main culprit of the weeds at the moment, so I'm just going to go around here. And the paths in between the bean and pea structures is quite bad as well. I have to be careful as well, because in between the runner beans I've got some pak choi seeds sown, so I'm not going to weed there. I'm just going to let them go through, then I can weed where I know the pak choi isn't. So I've just realised down here, by my peas, I've got my volunteer potato. I grew potatoes there last year, and I didn't pick all of them, where I missed some of them, which is quite inevitable when you're growing them in the ground. And a potato's growing up now, a volunteer potato we call them. So I've just been hoeing the stalks down, and it should give up eventually. So I'd just like to show you here, on the ground, here, it's so dusty that even when you water on it, the water tends to just roll off, which is quite annoying. And something you can do for this, which is a permaculture principle, is, well, at the moment my courgette, it's got netting around it to protect it from, one, Alfie my dog, and also the birds and things like that. And when that gets bigger, I'll take that off. But what you do is you make a mound of earth around the bottom of the plant on the downhill side. So any water that runs off gets caught in like a pool, and then it soaks into the roots where that plant is, which means your plants will get the water that you're putting on, and you won't waste any water running off the hill. That permaculture principle, by the way, is called swales and berms, and the swales are the dip below the berm, basically. So the berm is the mound, the swale is the trough after, like, uphill. I'm just going to turn my compost, and then I'll probably go for a bike ride, and then it's about lunchtime. If you want to know more about how I compost, make sure you check out my composting series, which is a playlist on my channel, Composting Broken Down, where I show you everything you need to know about making your own compost for the first time. What this does is it gets air in there into the compost and stops it going all sludgy. And what this does then is it means it breaks down a lot quicker, because the microbes can respire a lot easier. I'm about to go on a bike ride now, and just make sure you always wear a helmet, because danger doesn't take a day off. Okay, so I've had my lunch and I've been on my bike ride now, and I'm back home, and I'm probably now going to turn the hay with a rake, and then I'm going to edge the flower borders, because I've kind of let this go for a bit because it's been so dry and I haven't really needed to mow the lawn. So normally I edge my borders and everything when I mow the lawn, and I haven't really had the time recently. When, if you look at the lawn now, it doesn't really need doing. So I'm going to turn the hay, edge the borders, which are behind me, and then yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll speak to you again after that. I also need to weed these borders because we've got creeping buttercup that's sort of creeping into the borders, which is really annoying, and it's dandelions coming through my heuchera and stuff, so I'm just going to tidy the beds up a bit today. Well, what I normally do here is I just fluff the hay up a bit, try and turn it over as much as I can with the rake. And what I'm also trying at the moment, because the lawn is so dried out here, I'm using the hay to cover it. So hopefully it'll evaporate less stuff off the soil, so the lawn will go more green without having to water the lawn at all, because I don't really like watering the lawn, because I think it's a bit of a waste where you could be growing food with the water. So yeah, that I just put the grass over the top, and hopefully it helps build some moisture and helps the grass be revived a bit. And now, as I said, I'm going to edge the borders and weed them. And I know earlier I said I wasn't going to water them. Some of the pansies in the border I've seen have started to wilt, so I'm going to have to water at the roots so that it doesn't burn the leaves now. So I'm now just getting some gardening gloves on, and I'm going to be using a hand fork, some secateurs to cut back some things that shouldn't be growing here, and this edging spade as well. I've also got a bucket here to put all the waste in. I'm just going to start over here. I'm just going to put these bits that I've cut with the spade into the bucket now. I have to do this on a reasonably regular basis, mainly because when people walk on the lawn and things, sometimes the mud can cave in a bit, because I like having clean edges, and the earth just needs to be trimmed and checked sometimes. And then once I've done this, I've got some edging shears as well, which I'll go along and cut the grass to make it an even more defined edge. There we are, I've done that. I've edged with the half moon spade, and I'm just going to go and get some edging shears, and then we'll do the weeding and the trimming and things. These are what I'm talking about, these edging shears. I got these for £1 from a second-hand shop a couple of years ago, and a bit of paint, sharpen and sand off some rust, and these working just like new. And whilst I'm weeding, I'd quite like to give a mention to Kia, who's 7 years old from northern Spain, and he loves viewing my channel. There's quite a lot of buttercups in this bed now, and also I just noticed if you leave your forget-me-nots to go to seed, you get them popping up everywhere in your flower bed, which means next year you have a bigger display of forget-me-nots, which is what I'm going to leave. Or you can also pop them on and then plant them out next year when they start to grow again, and you will have more blue flowers in your garden. And because blue is one of the rarest colours or most rare colours in nature, which is why I like forget-me-nots I think so much, because you don't normally see flowers that blue. And I also notice as well with forget-me-nots, they change colour through the season. So they start off a really nice light blue, and then my ones, they turn like a purpley colour as the flowers start to die, which is a really nice addition. So I've just finished edging and weeding the flower bed, as you see. I'll just do it every now and then to try and keep it going. And now I'm going to go and earth up my potatoes over there with some hay that I've got stored, because they are drying out quickly and wilting a lot every day. And the hay will stop the tubers going green. And that's when they photosynthesize, so the sunlight gets to them, and they react with the sunlight, and that makes them go green, which can make them dangerous to eat. And these potatoes here, they might make you laugh because they're so tall, but they've been in a shaded spot of the garden, and I thought they'd be okay there, but they haven't had enough light at all, since the foliage came on the trees especially. And these are my main crop potatoes, so these are going to be here now on the paving slabs on my lawn, where they get just about full sun, a little bit less probably, because there's a big tree up there that shades the garden in the evening, which can be good because this part of the garden does get full sun, and especially on hot days like this, it does put strain on the plants. So over here now, there's grass. This used to be a strawberry plant, but it's starting to fall apart. So this part of the garden here, I'm going to use it as a sort of growing on bed. So things like my currant cuttings and my lupin plants that I started from seed this year are going to go here. They'll grow into mature plants where the lupins can flower next year, so I can move them into my flower beds. And I'm also making a flower bed bigger over winter this year, I've decided. And I'm also going to grow the currants on there, so I may even be able to get fruit from them here. I may just leave them there. But definitely to grow plants that I've started from seed or cuttings, grow them into bigger plants before moving elsewhere in the garden. And to save putting work in, I've got this old carpet here, which I think I'll just fold out one layer and it'll try and smother the grass out, and I'll put some rocks on it to stop the weeds pushing it up. And this will hopefully stop me having to dig it over, and I could just plant straight into it later on in the summer. So I'm going to do it under this structure here because, one, it's difficult to move and it's not too in the way. This is what I normally use to protect my wormery from the frosts over winter, but obviously at the moment it's hot enough that I can take it away. So I'm just going to fold this corner over here over, because normally tulips come up there in spring. So there we are. So I'm going to put some rocks on it now, and then I'll be done here. So I've done that now, and that should start killing off the grass and the weeds there, so that these lupins that I've started off from seed last week can go in there, and they can grow on to be mature lupin plants then, which we'll be able to then grow on there into bigger plants that can flower just like these ones are here. And those ones there now I'm going to deadhead, but I'm going to leave one flower on each plant there to go to seed, so that I can save the seeds and use them next year. I'm also drying out some onions today that had fallen over in the wind, and they're reasonably big. So I'm going to dry them out there, and then I'll store them. So most of these, this one is the one I'm going to leave on the white flower, because the seeds are coming on it now. But this one's reasonably dead, so I'm going to cut that back to some new growth, also to a leaf. I know I took some leaves off there, but I've cut to a bud where hopefully new flowers and leaves can come. Doing this, it helps encourage new flowers to develop. That one's still got some flowers on it. Oh no, sorry, it's not this one I'm saving, it's this one, because the flowers are completely done on that. So I'm going to take this one down then, and I'll put these in the compost bin, because the seeds in there aren't fully developed yet, which means they won't grow when I use the compost. I can already see there's another flower coming down there, a new bud. So this here is like a wall of honeysuckle, and it's also got some roses intertwined, some floribunda iceberg up there, and then another floribunda up there, but I'm not sure what that one is. It's a pink one, that's all I know. And I've also got an apricot coloured climbing rose there. The flowers are finished on that one now. I fed it the other day and I've been deadheading, so hopefully I'll be able to get a second flowering on it. But I'm just going to go through and I'm going to deadhead some of the roses up there. And I forgot to say there's also perennial sweet peas up here. So I think that's it for me in the garden today. I'm probably going to go in and edit this video for you all to come out tomorrow, or today for you. And it's also getting a bit too hot to work in the garden, as well as I've got most of what I wanted to do done. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.